Thank you for watching Hack the File. I'm Michael Lopez. And today's episode is going to be the 14th video of the ethical hacking series. I think we're going to do um, a reverse shell. Enjoy. All right, let's do this. So, the last video we left off over here somewhere, but we have to reset up some steps. All right. So we're not gonna scan no ports. We already did that. That's ridiculous. But we're gonna do this part right here, which opens up the back door or sets up a back door or something. Yeah. So we're setting up a back door. So let's do that. But first, we have to find out what our IP addresses are again. So I don't know if you guys remember how to do that, but it's net discover. If anything, you're gonna remember net discover, right? And remember, the one with the lowest IP address is our pfSense firewall. So this is our firewall. So this one must be our metasploitable. So let's go ahead and stop that. Okay, now we got our metasploitable address. Now we got to follow the NC metasploitable IP address 21. Let's do that. Netcat, that's netcat. Remember that, right? And there's my nums log. So it says it's gonna hang, and if it hangs, then it's good. When the back doors opens, it will create a shell running on port 6200. This port number is pre-programmed to the back door. If you successfully unlock the back door, the terminal will just hang. Leave this terminal open and start a new one, and the new terminal will walk through the back door by connecting to the shell running port 6200 by using the following commands. So we're using netcat again, same IP address, except for we're connected to the port 6200. So we're going to open up another window. I'm going to go sudo netcat. I'm going to paste that. And we're going to do 6200. Now, maybe you don't need this sudo. On 92. So let's open up a new window. It's netcat, right? Yeah. Netcat. Exploitable address. 6200. Why is that unknown? What does that mean? Let's read and see what happens. Netcat 21. Did I do 21? Yeah, 21. 21? Is that the metasploitable server? Let's cancel that. Let's run a net discover again. So I have. There's 3 of them should show. My Kali Linux. No. I don't know. Let me see if my what's going on with my metasploitable. Yeah, it's good. Just checking something real quick. $2DF8. Yeah, that's my metasploitable server. So this is it. Oh, I didn't log in. User hacker. Okay, I'm tripping. So I didn't finish that command. So user. Man, I always forget this. And the password is pass invalid. Alright. Okay, that looks like it worked. Man, I didn't get that error anymore and it's hanging, so I think we're in the back door on that. The more times we do that, the more we'll understand. So, writing a reverse shell. Now that you have conceptual understanding of reverse shells, let's walk through the process of eliminating one. A process of implementing one. Open Kali Linux and create a folder called Shell on your desktop. For now, we'll place both our client and server programs in this folder. Alright. Shell. For now, we'll place both the client. Okay. We'll write the program in mousepad, and we're going to just do that. which is the default text editor in Kali Linux. But you can use an editor of your choice. Run the following command to open the mousepad. Mousepad and let's see if that works. Open up another. I don't think it's and. I think it's just mousepad. Yeah, I don't know what that and was. What the hell was that and for? Mousepad and? Huh. It's just mousepad, right? The following program receives commands from the hacker's TCP. Okay. The following program receives commands from the hacker's TCP server and executes them on the victim's machine before sending the results back to the hacker. Copy the following reverse shell code onto the editor and save the files as reverse shell.py in the shell folder you just created. Okay. Copy the following reverse shell code into the editor and save the file. Okay, as reverse shell.py. So we can't copy from this book. So what we're gonna do is I have the code, remember? And it's on GitHub. It's there. If you should pause the video and see if you can copy this directory and this URL. It's https github.com ethical hacking book code by chapter reverse shell.py, right? So I'm just going to copy this. Now if you're wanting to learn Python, I would recommend getting a Python PyCharm or something and then playing with Python, like typing this in yourself. If you don't know how to code, then just do this. But if you do know how to code but you want to learn Python, I'd recommend typing this in, right? I wouldn't just be copying and pasting. So here's the mouse pad. I'm going to paste this in here. And then I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this on my desktop in the shell folder, right? I'm going to call it, let's go back here. I'm going to call it reverse shell.py, right? The hell did I do? So that's saved. Now, see how it turned colors? That's because it's a Python. It's a Python program now. When you put that .py on the end of it, turns it into a Python program. So let's check to see if it's in there, right? And there it is. See, it's a Python program for shell.py. All right. Let's go see what the next step is. Okay, so we're gonna go through the code, which is cool. So number 1 right here, right? Server name. We read the attacker's IP address from the command line parameter you'll supply when you run the program. Okay, and so it's saying, server name equals argument one, server port 8000. When we create a new client socket, two client socket equals socket stream, the af inet parameter tells the socket library to create an IP4 socket, and a socket stream parameter tells the socket library to make it a TCP socket. If you want to create an IP6 UDP socket, you'll supply the mainnet 6. So we might have to change that because I think I've got a IPv6, but I mean that's good for now. After you've created the socket, you can use it to connect to the socket on the hacker's machine by. Okay, after you've created the socket, you can use it to connect to the socket on the hacker's machine by supplying a tuple containing the socket's IP address and port number. 3. Tuples are listed that can't be or lists that can't be modified, and we declare them using parentheses instead of brackets. In this case, the tuple contains variables we defined earlier in the program, so it should look something like this. So there's your tuple. Wait, where did it say? 3. Server port 8000. Yeah, we're not changing that setup. There's server port equals 8000. I don't know. The client should then notify the attacker's machine that it is ready to accept commands. The Python socket library is designed to send library data, so if you want to send the string bot reporting for duty, you must first encode it into the binary by calling encode number 4. Similarly, all information received from sockets will be binary, so the program must decode it if you want to view it as a string. Decode client. The value of 4064 specifies the maximum number of bytes to read. 5. So the bytes. The client will continue accepting and executing commands until the hacker sends the exit command. Open command.split. The pop-in method 6 creates a copy or fork for the current process called a subprocess. It then processes the commands to subprocesses, which executes to the client. Once the subprocess has executed the command, the proc communication function reads the results, which then send to the hacker's machine. Communicate classic. So it breaks it down, this little script, and all this little script is doing is setting up a socket, right? Reverse shell, so you can control the hacked computer, right? Writing a TCP server that listens for client connections. So now you need to be able to listen for the reverse for the connection, right? So then you can tap into it. I don't know. You can read. Now you'll write the okay. So we didn't even run this. Alright, I guess it doesn't matter. Writing the TCP server that listens for client connections. Now you'll write the server that runs on the hacker's Kali Linux machine. This server will be responsible for 2 key functions. 1, accepting connections from the client, and 2, sending and receiving commands. So this is basically the server that allows you to to run commands on the hacked server, or hacked, in this case, metasploitable. You'll often hear this server called a command and control server, CNC. Open a new window in your text editor, enter the following code, and then save the file as shell server in the same shell file. So let's look for that. So we'll go back, shell server, and we'll just copy that. Okay. Nope, not that one. Close. We'll minimize that. We'll run mousepad again. We'll paste it, save it, desktop, shell, and then we'll call this one the shell server.py. We'll name it, press return. Now that one's saved. Close that. Okay. I think we're doing it right? Now it's going to explain this. Okay, so first, let me see how many minutes I'm in. Okay. So first we create an IP4 TCP socket. Remember, the TCP is the basically the HTTPS protocol, right? Transmission control protocol. I think that's what it's called. Socket, right? So number one, server socket, and this is what we're doing. Now this stuff right here is when you're getting into like advanced hacking. You're probably gonna have all this memorized, and you're gonna know how to create sockets. This is all hacking stuff right here, man. In regular code, you're not really using all this socket stuff. This is all for hacking, little scripts for hacking. This is awesome. So, I mean, I don't know, but memorizing how to do this would benefit you, and we probably will after a while when we look at this code enough. We'll understand that how to set up a socket and how to write a basic script. So this is advanced, but for now, reading it and looking at it is a good start. If you don't know, right? Because I don't know it yet. I don't know it by heart. To ensure that sockets can communicate effectively, the IP versions of protocols must both match. The IP versions and protocols must both match. So we use the same protocols as we did with the client. We make the socket more robust by allowing the operating system to reuse a socket that was recently used. To reuser. After we create the socket, we can bind it to the port on the machine. The bind function takes two parameters: bind the machine's IP address and the port. If the IP address parameter is empty, the function will use the default IP address assigned to the machine. Now that the socket is bound to a port, it can listen to the connection. Listen. Here you can specify the number of connections you want to support. Because you have only one client, it's okay to support a single connection. Once the client connects to the socket, we'll accept the connection and return a connection object. We'll use this object to send and receive commands. Once we finish the sending command, we'll configure the connection for a quick getaway and close it. Start the server by running the following command. So connection socket shutdown. So it has the shutdown sequence. Right? You can shut it down. All right. So Python 3 home desktop shell server. Okay, so we're just running this. It's a Python 3 script. So let's do that. So let's close this. Let's go to. I'm gonna do a little secret here. I'm just gonna open up this file, right? Since I want to run something in here. So I'm gonna open terminal here, and see now it gives me that directory, right? Instead of doing the whatever. So now I'm in there. I'm gonna ls this. Oh crap! And it's gonna tell me what programs are in here and what program did this guy did they want to run? They want to run that shell. No wait, they want to run the shell server. The server is now waiting for the client to connect to it, and you can begin the process of loading the client into the metasploitable. And then we'll load that. But let's so once we run the server, so let's run this server. So it's Python 3, and then we're gonna, because it's a Python 3 program script, right? And we want to run this. I think that ran it, but let's Python 3. There you go. It didn't do nothing. Okay, so now I'm gonna run that. So attacker box listening and awaiting instructions. So that worked, right? That's awesome. Okay. Now we're gonna follow this instruction. Loading the reverse shell onto the metasploitable server. Now that you've developed both the reverse shell and a hacker server in Python, listening, load the Python reverse shell onto the metasploitable server. We'll use a reverse shell you've written to maintain access even after the vulnerability in VS FTP has been patched. Because an attacker doesn't have the server's username or password and thus can't log into the server, you must use the shell provided by the VS FTP backdoor to upload your reverse shell onto the metasploitable server from the Kali Linux machine. Navigate to the directory on the Kali Linux machine that contains the reverse shell.py and shell server.py. So we're in that already. So it's just showing you how to get to there from your home, right? And this little this little squiggly line is just home, right? So next we'll start the local server. So we're already on this step. Next, start a local server that will serve the reverse shell.py file to the metasploitable server. So Python, you can do servers with Python. Server with Python. What? Okay. Next, start a local server that will serve the reverse shell now. Pi. Okay, so we're going to start a server. So we're going to go Python 3-m http.server 8080. So what this does is in Python, where did the hell did it say to do it? It says to do it in the shell folder. It's in the same folder. Okay, in the same folder, I guess. We're gonna do a Python 3-m HTTP server 8080. So we're this Python 3 -m HTTP dot server port 8080. So what this does in Python, okay, when you put Python 3 -m and then you HTTP because it's not secure dot server 80 and the port you want, which is usually 8080, it's it's a higher port or a port not used or something. You could create a server, okay, and that's it. So that's what they have us doing right here. Okay, the dash, and this is going to explain this. So that's why I like this book. The dash M represents the module that is run. Here you're running the HTTP.server module, which allows you to start a web server. Now, modules in Python are basically libraries in C Sharp. So that's what it is. They're like pre-built packages that do things of code. Open a terminal window and connect to the VS FTP backdoor shell on port 6200 that we created, right? As shown in the code that follows, use this shell to create a new directory on the metasploitable server and download reverseshell.py file onto it from the hacker server. To do so, use the following command. Okay. Open a terminal window. So we're going to open a terminal window and connect, right? And we're going to type in netcat 101. Okay, hold on. Okay, so it's the... What is this? 101? That's confusing. VS FTP backdoor shell. So wouldn't it be just... That's going to be confusing. This is just going to be our metasploitable. How come it didn't have a... Hold on. What was their reverse shell called? Just metasploitable IP address. Port 8080. I'm just going to put that in and see what happens. I think that's... Okay, so that's listening. This created a server. And now we're going to do netcat 192.168.1.101. I don't think that's going to work because I'm looking at it wrong, I think. .1.101. I don't know if that 6200. Yeah, that didn't work. Yeah, it's not. I'm sure it's the... It's the... timed out. Oh shit. It's this one. Son of a bitch. Is this still working? Dot 1.100 is what we're looking for. So I think this is relevant now. Dot 1 6200. What the fuck? Why did that have me do that twice? Oh, okay, yeah, just to reconnect. Cause what did it figure that it would session? It would connect. It would be, yeah, because that's what I did up there. All right. Anyways, yeah, that's my back door. No, that's connecting. That's opening my back door, right? So this is where it can get kind of confusing. Um, they have you redo this because I think that they knew the connection was gonna be son of a bitch. It was gonna be disconnected. Anyways, let's make a directory shell and then move to that shell, right? So let's make a directory. Shit, I don't even know if that's working. Let's see what our IP address is. wget 8080 reverse shell.py. I don't think this shit is working. Do we get? Really? One 168.1.102. Let's see if that works. And no. That's because my back door is not open. Oh shit. We're here already? Now let's see if I. Oh, here it is. There's my shell. Okay, apparently this one is the one that was already working. I don't know, maybe the other one um, wasn't working because of it. But this is the one that's the backdoor into my metasploitable. I guess that other working session, when it establishes a connection that doesn't need to stay up, I don't know. Let's move the CD. Let's move the shell. There's nothing going to be in there because it's a new. Um, now we're going to wget. One nine two 168.1.102 port 8080 slash yeah, it looks good. All right, let's see. Yes, baby. Connected. HTTP request sent. Waiting response. 100, 200. Okay. Hell yeah. Now I can run commands. Okay, so now, hold on. Let's see. Loading the reverse shell onto the metasploitable. Start the reverse shell on the metasploitable machine by entering the following command in the current Netscape session. Python reverse shell.py Kali IP address. Python reverse shell.py and my IP address. What the fuck am I? Is it Python 3? So loading. So I loaded it. start the shell on Metasploitable on the Metasploitable machine by entering the following command in the current Netscape session, and that's the one that I'm in. So Netscape session. Your reverse shell will now attempt to connect to your server. Switch over to the Linux machine. Hold up. Was that not on the... What the hell? You must use the shell provided by the... Okay, so yeah, I was on the count. What the hell does that mean? Oh, that makes no sense. Start the reverse shell on the metasploitable machine by entering the following command. Yeah. Oh, let's see. So, let's see where I'm listening at. Okay. So this is the shell server deploy. Oh yeah, so it's listening. It found somebody. Attacker bot is listening, waiting instructions. Thanks for connecting to me. Bot reporting for duty. Please enter in command. Oh, nice. So now I'm in. Right? Thanks for connecting to me. Bot waiting for duty. Who am I? So now I want to see who am I. Because Groot. Groot. I am Groot. He's entered command. See where I'm at. Shell. Please enter in command. Let's see what programs are in there. Reverse shell.py. Here, who am I prints the current user. If the output says root, you've gained root access to the metasploitable server. There you go. Awesome. The preceding output also shows some examples of commands you can execute on the metasploitable machine. The pwd command prints the working directory and basically where you're at, and the ls command lists the files in the directory. In this case, you can see the reverse shell.py that you've downloaded when I did the wget. So I did the wget on there. Huh. So I've gained group access. I call it group access. Root. Botnets. So far, you've built a server that control. Okay, so we can do botnets in the next video, but um, we could turn this metasploitable into a botnet. But I want to go over this again because I want to make it absolutely clear to myself what the hell I just did. And I kind of know, but the more I think about it and try to explain it, the better I'll be. So I wanna explain this clearly. Um, show server.py. Okay, and we'll start from step one, and then we'll look at it, and then we'll close this video. But this is a fun video. Now, reverse shells. I think the more we practice them, the more we understand them, the more we know how to do them, and we know how to use our Python programs, scripts, the better. Because, you know, I mean, you want to get to basic. I mean, you got to start with the basics. And if you can't do a basic reverse shell or a basic anything, um, I don't think that you're going to be any good at hacking or even understanding hacking. So, the more we do this, the better. I love this book. This book is awesome. So let's try to understand what we did. So we're not going to go back to, all this other crap right here. I mean, before this, NISC, finding vulnerabilities. You already know you have to do all that. Once we found the vulnerability in this case, the metasploitable, but in our the person we're attacking, we're going to use NCAT, and NCAT is NC. And NCAT does a lot of things. Okay, we already went over that in the last couple videos, but we're going to do NCAT, and then we're going to exploit a vulnerability that we found on this government website, connecting to port 21, and the vulnerability is basically connected to port 21, using the username hacker and the password invalid. Once that, it's a backdoor. Okay, so we're using a backdoor vulnerability. Once we get into that guy's server, which in this case is metasploitable, when the backdoor is open, it will create a shell running on port 6200. So now we're using Netcat on a different window, and we're connecting to 6200 using this vulnerability right at the back door. So now that you're in, so now we're into the system, into metasploitable, right? But we don't have root access. Okay, we don't have root access, and okay, so yeah, so we don't have anything. We're just in. Now that you're in, the commands you execute on this terminal will be executed on the server you just hacked. You'll use this terminal later to download your reverse shell, so leave it open. So now, so if we go back to how the firewalls work, right, on things, we can't run commands from outside, right, and or something like that because of the firewall. We can't do anything from outside. There's a firewall setting in there. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get in the system, which we're in, and we're trying to set up a reverse shell, okay, that will allow us to make commands from inside there and send them out, right? Because I guess some firewalls, you can send stuff out, but you can't send stuff in. is what I'm understanding from the rest from this book, right? So we have to set up a reverse shell in there, right? Now that you've consensual understanding of reverse shells, let's walk you through the process. Open Kali Linux, create a folder culture. So we're opening up mousepad, and then you know that the command is mousepad. And so now that I have this um, Python script in my Kali Linux box, right? So if you go here, I've got it. I've got a shell, and I've got a reverse shell code, right, that I can modify for later use if I wanted to use it. Shell server and reverse shell. So I've got the Python code there already in my tac box. So that's good to have, right? I can modify that, play with it. I can study it, read it better, and this book explains it better. Now we need to create a server that listens for open ports, right? Or it's listening for a connection, right? That's why I understand that. So now you'll write. So okay, so now once we're in the metasploitable, okay, or the victim, we write a reverse shell that is going to connect to our server that's listening, so we can send it, so we can pass it, so we can pass some information to it, right, or something, right? That's what I'm understanding, right? Okay, now that you'll write the server that runs on the hacker's box. This server will be responsible for two key functions: accepting connections from the client and sending and receiving commands. So yeah, so now we'll once once that server is connected to, so it's like, okay, connect to this guy from inside, because I'm in there in the back door, right? And this is called the command and control. So I have to have another server, the TCP server, and that it can connect to. So this is a script that can allows it to do that. Okay, and explains how to do that, right? Once we finish setting up the command, sending the command, we'll configure the connection for a quick getaway and close the server while running the command. Python 3 shell server.py. So we're running this shell server. So it's sitting there going, all right, we're you use the vulnerability. You're in the back door of this guy you're wanting to hack, or this company, or in this case, metasploitable. So we're in, but from here we need to be able to set up a reverse shell to connect to our hacker uh, device, right? Our hacker laptop. Okay, and to do that, you're gonna have to create a listener, okay, that listens. Um, that listens. So it's basically a TCP server that listens um, for a connection, and then you need to load the reverse shell that we script program the script um, next. So now that you've developed both reverse shell and hacker server in Python, and in Python, load the reverse shell in Python into the CD. So it says loading the reverse shell onto the metasploitable server or the person you're attacking, right? Now that you've developed both reverse shell, developed means it written the program, so the script, both So that's these two things. Both the reverse shell and the hacker server in Python. Load the Python reverse shell onto the metasploitable server. We're going to use the backdoor, right? To do that. We'll use the reverse shell you've written to maintain access even after the vulnerability has been patched, because an attacker doesn't have the server's username and password and thus can't log into the server. You must use the shell provided by the VS FTP backdoor to upload reverse shell onto the metasploitable server of the Kali Linux machine. Is that saying just your backdoor? Navigate to the directory on the Kali Linux machine that contains reverse shell.py. So now we're going to our directory, which is the one we created with our I would say our malware or our you know Python scripts that we created. It's got the reverse shell and the my eye is hurting, and the server. So saying go there, and now we're gonna create a server. And this is something you got to remember, that, and then explains to you what the dash m means. So now we're creating a server. So next, start a local server that will serve the reverse shell.py file to the meta. So now we're creating a local server that will shoot this file over there. Okay, that connects to it. I'm guessing. Okay. Okay, the .m represents a module as one, which allows you to start a web server. It's a web server, right? Because you're using HTTP. Open a terminal window and connect to the backdoor shell on port 60, as shown in the code. So now we're using Netcat to connect to that backdoor again. And we're gonna make a directory shell. We're gonna move to that directory. So apparently you can make directories and stuff even if you don't have root. I don't know. I don't know about that, right? Who knows? wget Kali IP address 8080 reverse shell.py. So wget is getting from the metasploitable, because we can't do that from us because the firewall probably blocks it, right? So once we're in there, we can get a wget, and then we just put in we're getting it port 8080 reverse shell.py. So we're getting our so we're getting it from this file. We're getting the reverse shell.py. Okay, and the port 8080 is, I think, that server that it's netcat session. Oh. Right here. So this server, we created the server, web server, over TCP web, right? Over the web on port 8080. So that's what this is doing. It's saying go to Kali Linux through port 8080 and grab this, because we have a server on there that contains, and our server contains that shell folder. So it's going to go 8080 reverse shell.py, because we're in that server is in this directory. So because we created the server in this directory, right? That makes sense to me. So we created this server in that shell directory. So it's in there. So it says, yeah, go over here, port 8080, and then in that directory, in that shell, there's a Python there's a reverse shell.py. So I'm already in there, and I'm doing that, right? The only thing that confuses me is how the hell am I making a directory? Or am I looking at that wrong? How did I make a directory if I don't have root access? I'm sure I wouldn't be able to do that. I think that's just for example, because I don't have root access yet. I'm just in the back door. I'm in there. I can probably use ls and stuff, but I don't. How the hell am I going to make this unless I have root access in the real world? So I don't know. There's just weird things that you got to kind of think about. I would say I don't think you can, right? And then now I'm running the reverse shell that gives me root access and listens to the connects to uh, the server that I mean, not the server, the connects to this shell server .py that I had listening. No, no, I'm running shell server on, yeah, that was listening. So once I had this running and listening, and then it said, all right, I'm listening. Boom, connected to 100, which is my, oh, anyways, this is my Kali Linux number, I think. Anyways, so I hope I got that right. But I mean, there's a lot to it. And I think the more you practice, which I need lots more practice, but that's what's cool about these videos is that um, I will be able to uh, go back and redo this stuff at least a couple steps before every time I make a new video, because I make a new video every week, right? And sometimes every other week because I'm doing other books too. So it just kind of, you're constantly going over what you're doing. So I am in no means, and I am by no means a master or anything. I barely can understand what I'm doing here, and but I'm understanding it a little bit better each time. So I can imagine the more and more I do it, the more I'll understand. But I mean, that was still fun. You know what I'm saying? That was still awesome. Everything worked. Um, I didn't have to really troubleshoot too much. And here's my root access control that I have control over my victim, and I can see where I'm at. Oh, what am I doing? I broke the pipe. Yeah, I broke that, huh? So I'd have to go back to this one. And run that reverse shell. This one. should pick up, right? Oh no, that's saving it. This is the one. Yeah, see, no. Yeah, so this is the back door. And here's my netcat connected to here. So all I'm doing is running a reverse shell that I uploaded, and then that gives me and this is like a malware or a script that I wrote, right? A reverse shell script, which I think it follows under the category of malware. I understand. I think so. Then from here I can run my commands, right? And these are. So let me see if I can make directory. Gotcha. Then I want to just see. Oh, that didn't work. And I broke it. Oh man, what the hell? Yeah, I broke it. Anyways, get out of that. Permission denied. Okay, so yeah, you can play around with it once you connect. I obviously didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I mean that's for this video. I mean everything we did worked. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time on Hack the File.